Hey friends, welcome to the channel. If you're learning Turkish or plan to learn it in the future and ask yourself if the Turkish Uncovered course by Olly Richards is the right choice, keep watching. Los geht's! My name is Dustin. I'm an IT project manager from Germany. On this channel we create content that helps us to be more productive, to learn new things, especially languages, and to live a happier and more fulfilling life. Today we'll be doing an honest review of the Turkish Uncovered course by Olly Richards, which I have just completed. We will start with the general idea and theory behind the story learning concept and thus also the uncovered courses. Then we will review the course together, compare pros and cons, take a look at the pricing and then draw a conclusion to enable you to make an informed decision whether the course could be also something for you. This video is completely unsponsored. So first let me quote the official description of the story learning concept. Stories are the most basic form of human communication. We've been communicating through stories for thousands of years. Now, for the first time, you can use the magic of stories to learn a new language. It's the way that the brain naturally likes to learn. So, what he's basically saying is that in order to learn a foreign language, we should read and listen a lot in our target language in order to give our brain the opportunity to slowly assimilate it. Scientifically speaking, this is language learning according to the comprehension hypothesis, which means through the exposure of input, that is, comprehensible, that means at the right level for you to be understood, and compelling, which means it is interesting to you, you'll acquire the target language. Stephen Krashen has coined those terms, and if you are interested, I'll be also putting more information in the description of the video. Olly Richards tries to help you exactly with that through his story learning material, which aims to keep you engaged by offering you an interesting story that you can follow while at the same time learning the language and engaging with it in many different ways, instead of studying abstract grammar concepts without any connection to something that is meaningful to you. Around this idea, Olly Richards has built an impressive presence with YouTube channels in English and Spanish, as well as a podcast, a blog, and a newsletter where interesting and useful free content gets published regularly for everyone interested in learning foreign languages. This also serves as a sales funnel for his paid products, which start with the short storybooks that are basically graded readers at varying degrees of difficulties to learn a multitude of different languages. And then of course the heart of his online presence, the uncovered online courses that I want to discuss today. The online courses are available for different levels depending on the language. The bigger ones in terms of number of learners are, for example, Spanish, German, Italian, Japanese and French, where you can find courses from beginner to an advanced level. For other languages like Korean, Arabic or Swedish, there are currently only beginner courses available. But we'll be reviewing the Turkish course today. So first you'll be introduced to the video course and you get tips and tricks on how to progress through it. There's also a community which you are asked to sign up to get further tips and to motivate each other. Also, there's a short introduction to the Turkish language and also the alphabet. There are in total 20 chapters in the beginner's course. It always starts with reading and listening to the chapter first. You get it as an MP3 file that you can also download, and also a PDF with the text in Turkish and also a PDF with the text in English. At the end of the course, you can also download a complete PDF and MP3 file for the whole thing. You're supposed to first just listen to the chapter, then read the transcripts, multiple times ideally, and then the translation. So you should engage with the content. Once that is done, there are multiple lessons around the chapter, starting with explanations of the vocabulary and also some flashcards and Quizlet that you can use to test your knowledge. Next, there are grammar lessons that get from chapter to chapter a little bit more complex, and also here you get some flashcards to practice your knowledge. What's also very useful for Turkish is that there's one lesson per chapter on how the suffixes work, which play a really big role in Turkish and are necessary to build a good comprehension and then also later to produce a language. Then there are also pronunciation tips, one letter of the alphabet at a time, and also interesting information about the Turkish culture to get you engaged and interested in learning the language. What you'll also get are worksheets and speaking activities that you can do with a Turkish teacher if you have one. Even though Olly says that you can do them whenever you like, but you shouldn't start speaking too late. I'm rather the type of student who first wants to build a solid comprehension and then only at a later stage actually starts to speak. But to start earlier has also its advantages. The only trap we should never fall into is to just never start speaking at all. And at the end, there's also a chapter comprehension check that makes sure that you have understood what happens in the story before you move on to the next one. And this way, you would progress through the story in theory. The community is supposed to be used if you have any questions around the course, and also for the learners to motivate each other. So first, let's come to the pros. You're not just following boring grammar advice, but you have actually a more or less interesting story that you can work your way through, including audio, transcript and translation that you can also download or print out. But still, you get also material to practice vocabulary, grammar, suffixes and more. And once you are ready, you can use this speaking material to practice with a Turkish teacher in real life or maybe online. If you get the course, you can always come back to it because you'll get a lifetime access. And what's also nice is that it basically follows the science, the comprehensible and compelling input hypotheses. There's no app available. I've just made it app-alike myself, but the program itself is not very well optimized for the smartphone use, I have to say. Sometimes it's also a bit clunky. It could be more rounded, like for example with full scripts and translations for the vocab section or so. Like also having flashcards that you can learn independently from the Quizlet integration. Or the Quizlet integration is also too small and thus it's a bit annoying scrolling around. The community isn't very active, at least the one for Turkish not. It might be different in other languages. But with those online programs I've seen that quite often, I have to admit. It's hard to build and maintain an active community and it takes quite some work. It's also too hard if you just start fresh and you'll have a hard time with Turkish from scratch. If you're just starting out with a language, I'm not sure this is the right program to start with. Also, maybe something like language transfer style would also be cool rather than explaining grammar the conventional way, even though it uses at least the story. And the story in general isn't super thrilling, but it works and it's good enough, I would say. The tuition is entirely in English, which is fine when you just start out, but it would be cool if there would be more and more Turkish the further you progress, to better immerse yourself. The pricing is for the beginner courses at approximately $300, but you'll get a 7-day trial. Sometimes there are discounts, like for example at Black Friday, where I got it at about, I think, $100. So make sure to wait until then. Another thing about the pricing is I pretty much dislike the manipulative upsell strategy to get the full story. Once I bought it and paid, I got a prompt that offered me to get the rest for $100 extra, but I thought I bought already the whole beginner's course. This way it felt like I bought a half product which hasn't been clear from the start. It would be almost $300 or including a discount $250 to get also level 2 afterwards. So would I advise to buy the course? Yes and no. If you are a complete beginner of Turkish, I would definitely tell you to first do something else to get to an A2 level maybe. That would be optimal, I would say. For that you could take a look at language transfer, which is completely for free. And I've already made a video about that here. Additionally, there are many other apps and programs like, for example, LingQ. There's also following the comprehensible input theory, but which is of course not free, LingQ. If you got already an A2 level and want to further improve your Turkish, then this course could be something for you. Just make sure to buy it when there's a discount. And if you're already using LingQ, like I do, then you can also import the lesson and the audio there to read and listen in the app. That's what I did. For me, it makes it easier to have all my content in one place. And in general, to learn a language, we need lots of input and lots of content. So yeah, if you are at the right level, I think this course could make definitely sense. And that's it. Let me know in the comments if you have already tried the courses or maybe other products from Olly Richards and how you did like them. And if you haven't, if you plan to use them in the future. Thank you so much for watching and see you the next time.